Good morning. Welcome back to another episode with the Zachary Beings, and on today's episode of the Wizard101 Ice Baby walkthrough, we are going to be doing Colossus Boulevard. Now, for those of you that don't know, Colossus Boulevard is a side area within Wizard City, so you don't need to do it for the main storyline quest to be able to progress further in the game, but I definitely do recommend it. There is a secret trainer in this area that I think is wonderful and that everyone should be able to get access to it. And it's just some good XP before we go on to the next world. And as an ice wizard, we're going to need all the XP that we can get. So before we actually start that quest to enter Colossus Boulevard, we are going to talk to Professor Zeke and finish up Penny Dreadful's questline.
Why, sure, youngin'. I'd be downright tickled to deliver that letter. I run a sort of postal service to fund my many wanderings through the spiral. Say, now that I think of it, I just came back from Marleybone. Got a package for, one Miss Penny Dreadful. You know what? How's about I trade you the package for the letter? You take yours to Miss Penny, and I'll take mine to her parents. Off you go now.
Beautiful. Let's go talk to Penny. You also notice it's Halloween themed in Wizard City. We will be doing the Halloween quests, but after we finish all of Wizard City.
The more I think about Malistaire, the more it doesn't make any sense. Why would someone so good suddenly turn so bad? I just wish I could ask him. If I could find him, maybe he'd tell me. I know he used to live in the dark cave before it was sealed. Maybe he's hiding out there now. I'll leave my spellbook here, just in case I'm wrong, so my new friend can come help me.
Aww. We are friends. But also, girl, don't go looking for Malistaire. So, real quick, Dark Cave is super far away. So, first thing I'm going to check is to see if I can find anyone that is in the Dark Cave. Or near the Dark Cave. Yeah, if I can find anyone in this Dark Cave, that's a problem. I guess we have to walk. I know. Poor us. We have to use our feet. But how y'all doing this good morning, this fine morning? I'm doing pretty good. It's a new day. October means spooky season is here. Time to decorate the house. Time to get out the fall decor. Time for pumpkin pie. Y'all, if you don't know, Costco has $6, and I repeat, $6 pumpkin pie. If you have your own money and you can take yourself to Costco and have a Costco membership, get yourself that pumpkin pie. If you are a child, tell your parents, who should have a Costco membership, to go get you that $6 pumpkin pie, because it is the best thing in this world. It's cheap, and it's a big pumpkin pie. It can feed a full family. So if there's anything you want to take away from this episode, it is Costco pumpkin pie. You must.
Hey, wizard! I see you found my spell book. No, I didn't talk to Malistaire. I should have known he'd be too smart to come here. Could be worse, I guess. At least I have these thorough reports on undead battle tactics, so I can handle the things in this cave. Huh? Oh, my parents sent me a package. You're right. Maybe it will cheer me up. Let's see. Oh, wow, pet snacks. That'd be great if I had a pet. Tell you what, wizard, you've been amazing ever since we met. Why don't you take these snacks? Just a small token to say how much everything you've done has meant to me.
Aw, that's so kind. I remember when this quest used to give us a pet. Like the Penny Dreadful quest used to give you a pet Cyclops, and now it doesn't anymore. Can't believe they took it out. Well, there's Penny. So now we're going to be going to the shopping district, and the quickest way to get there is to do Crown Shop, Loyalty Store, go to Majid. Beautiful. So now, y'all, you are ready. This is Colossus Boulevard right here. Doors are locked. Not for long.
Thank goodness the headmaster sent a wizard to aid us. We could really use your help. Strange creatures have taken over Colossus Boulevard. We don't know where they came from, but they eat everything in sight. We call them gobblers. I admire you wizards. My niece studies ice magic at Ravenwood, but I'm worried about her. She said she was doing some school project on Colossus Boulevard, but I don't know why she has to do it now. Would you go speak to her and see if she needs any help? Her name is Mindy Pixie Crown.
Yes, we can. Also, y'all, I've updated my deck for those wondering. So this is my deck. The only difference between the previous deck that I've been using is, or like my general deck, I took out the heartbeat. I realized that we oftentimes don't even use it, especially in mob fights. So if I want a more consistent deck, I just have 7 cards, and these are the 7 cards. So my 1, 2, and 3 pip card, my 0 pip freeze, which is really good rather than passing to potentially stun someone, my 0 pip ice blade, my hailhound, which is great in case they put up a shield or I'm fighting a boss, and then just my 2 pip ghoul. Usually if I have like a smaller minion to deal with, and I also need to regain health. So that's the vibe that we're looking at right now.
That's so sweet of my uncle to send you. I'm so glad you came too. I've been doing some ice research for Professor Greyrose, but I had to stop. I really need your help. This is horrible. First the gobblers showed up and started eating everything in sight, and then these evil snowmen. They're all over the place. We must get rid of them. But there are so many. Hey, I know. Why don't you defeat some of them and see if that will chase the rest away?
Question. And I would love for y'all to enter this question in the chat. Do y'all say horrible? And I'll repeat it. Horrible. Or do y'all say horrible? Horrible. 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 Let me know which one you pronounce in the comments below. And also, it's that time of the episode. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Share it with your mom, your dad, your sister, your brother, your dog's best friend's brother's pet aunt. And I mean ant as in A-U-N-T ant. Because my goal is by the end of this year is to have 100 subscribers. If we get 100 subscribers, we'll be golden. Cue the K-pop reference. Y'all, if you ever... How many of us have seen K-pop Demon Hunters? K-pop Demon Hunters, great movie. Music, amazing. Animation, amazing. Storyline, top tier. Speaking of K-pop Demon Hunters, because it's basically like a musical, we can all agree that K-pop Demon Hunters is basically a musical. Wicked Part 2 is coming out soon. I'm so excited to go see Wicked Part 2. And I really hope it's as long as the first one. Okay, y'all. So that was the Gobbler Scavengers. Quick and easy. It just needed us to defeat 2, and we defeated 2. So now we have to defeat 2 snowmen. So I'm definitely going to be showing this battle as well. Now this one might be a little bit more difficult just because these snowmen are ice. And we are also ice. But I'm going to show y'all what to do. So if you have an ice blade, use an ice blade. If you don't, put ice traps on these evil snowmen. And it's just because the most amount of damage that our evil snowman spell is going to be doing is 300, but the lowest it's going to do is 240, right? So I'm going to use my 0 pit freeze just to pass, like it's going to suit as a pass and also stunning one of them. Now, I'm going to use an Eel Snowman on the one that I stunned with hopes that I kill. And if I don't, I will then next turn just use a Frost Beetle. But this is kind of like the, yeah, that was the literal lowest damage that we could have done. But this is like the best that we could do as ice at the moment. But there will be a spell that we are going to be learning this episode. I repeat, we learn a new spell this episode. And that spell, I'm going to... See, I don't want to use Frost Beetle because there's a chance that it won't kill. So I'm actually going to use Ghoul. But there's a spell that we're going to be learning this episode that will make these fights against ice creatures bearable. I won't give it away just yet. For those of y'all that don't know. But it's gonna make our lives 10 times easy. Now, for the next snowman, what we'll do is probably we're gonna pass until we have 3 pips and then use the Hailhound. And one more. Beautiful Hailhound. So I want you to time this fight. I want you to time it. I want you to tell me how long it took for this fight. And then later in the episode, we're going to have to fight some evil snowmen again. I know, again. But by then, we're going to have a new spell. I want you to tell me, what is the difference in time between the original fight and the same fight, but with the new spell? We're just going to Frost Beetle to speed things up. Y'all, these episodes are like, we're doing great things. We got, this is episode 6. I realistically think we only have like 2 more episodes and then we'll be done with Wizard City. We're done with Wizard City before we hit double digits. It's great. And then it's on to the next world. Beautiful. So that's how you defeat those evil snowman. And even, I just showed y'all, even with a deck of 7 cards, you can still defeat them. But yeah, if you don't have the Hailhound, just put in another evil snowman, put in a couple ice traps. Just because
well, that didn't seem to make a dent in those gobblers at all. They're still eating the city.
Yeah, I wonder why. We did only defeat 2 of them, but maybe I'm not good at math.
Go speak with Professor Greyrose. Maybe she will know what to do. I'll try to keep their damage to a minimum.
Okay. So, because we have to go to Greyrose, I'm going to mark this location, go to my house, which is my dorm room, and guess where that dorm room is? In Ravenwood. And if y'all are watching my videos and you're playing this on console, how is console? Should I play this on console? Should I get my fiance to play this on console? Because I think I should.
Oh dear, I was afraid of that. It was an accident. I didn't mean to summon those gobblers, and those evil snowmen aren't doing a thing to help. They're actually causing more trouble. The biggest problem with gobblers is that they're always hungry. Let's try brewing a potion to make them lose their appetite. The snowmen we'll deal with later.
It sounds like we're going to be mixing up a good old Ozempic potion.
Here is a list of ingredients for the potion. Take it back to Minty Pixie Crown on Colossus Boulevard.
And our next spell that we learn is at level 16. I was going to be so excited for that new spell at level 16. Minty Pixie Crown. Oh, port.
A magic potion? excellent idea! I'll begin working on this list she gave us. I'll set up the cauldron for the potion here. Can you get the first ingredient? It's called stinkweed. You can find that growing right here in Colossus Boulevard. Go gather some for me.
Yes, ma'am. Now, you'll notice, we just picked up 3 side quests. 3 quests. We are going to be doing 2 of them, these 2, at the end of the episode. But the first one that we're going to do actually is this one.
There you are. I need you to come see me at the school for a moment. When you can, of course.
So we're going to take a little break from Colossus. Just to get a good old new spell. And then I think we'll actually make and then we'll cover these side quests. Everything but this guy's side quest in today's
To
episode.
gain your next ice spell, you must gather reagents. It will be most challenging, but necessary in order to advance. You will need to take this bottle and fill it below the waterfall on Triton, next to the water wheel. There the water is light and airy. From there you will travel to Colossus, where Mindy will create a water of fame for you.
Beautiful. So we have to go to Triton Avenue. So I'm going to first check to see if anyone is there already. And someone is. And just double check it. Yep, waterfall is this way. So yeah, y'all. I am super excited. I just double. Yep. Just want to make sure I'm on the right quest. This quest is going to make our lives fighting other ice creatures bearable.
You collect the foamy water created by the waterfall.
Now Mindy picks a ground. Well, guess what? This is why we're doing it now. Because we already have a port to her.
So, Lydia has you on a spell quest. I can help you if you have a bottle of Triton water. Just give me a moment.
She pours the water into her hands and is able to mold it into an athame.
Okay, I want to be able to do that. This sounds like some Avatar stuff.
There you go. A water theme. It's stable for now, but you'll now have to find someone more powerful than I to forge it into an ice theme. I would go to the ice tower across from the ice school. Something should be waiting for you inside. Good luck.
And y'all already know the drill. It says Ravenwood. We press home. I understand. Please stop.
You feel a cold wind fill the room, as if from the giants themselves.
Oh no. Y'all, we're gonna be fine. Okay, so the deal is we are going to blade. We are going to freeze just to buy ourselves a turn. We're gonna try that freeze one more time. Oh my gosh, y'all, I should have realized it would have been immune. That's all good. We're gonna Hellhound. Yeah, I feel like 4 pips is enough. Because my thought is like, each pip's about 100. It's a little bit more than 100, but about 100. And it's at 395 health, so about 400. So we need about 4 pips. Is how I go about my math. Beautiful. And then I'm going to pass to be able to ghoul with 2 hits. That way I get some health back. Okay, that did a little bit more than 100, so then this ghoul plus that 108 should kill. Period. Wait, it said it died. Wiz, fix your game. You caught it right here. It gave me a death animation, but now it says it has 1 health. Make that make sense.
You have proven that you are worthy to be in the School of Ice.
Wiz, explain that.
I will now freeze your water athame to aid you in your quest. Now you must take it to one who knows the ancient arts. Go now to Kelvin.
Okay, but like this like ice goblet over here, like cauldron, ice cauldron, kind of cool. Not kinda, it is cool.
Looks like the giants found favor in you, my friend. Now you will need to go back to the statue next to Mindy Pixie Crown on Colossus Boulevard. Once there, an ice minion will visit you and give you the power words you will need for creating your spell.
Period. And guess what we have there? We have a port.
You feel the air turn very chilly. You hold the ice blade aloft.
Student of Ice, with this blade you have proven yourself worthy of the next spell. Go now to your school and speak these words. Ricket Juthy Lakula.
I'll have y'all know, when I was a wee little lad playing this game, I didn't quite understand how these spell quests worked. So when they would be like, oh, go to your school and repeat these words, I would literally sit and stare at the screen for like hours, or what felt like hours, memorizing those words, because I felt like when I got to my school, they'd be like, okay, now type it out. Spell it for the class. And guess what happens?
Now, with the ice athame and the words of power, we can create a helpful spell.
So then I'm like, okay, I'm ready. Is it going to be a multiple choice test? Is it going to be a free response?
As you speak the words, the air around you turns bone-chillingly cold. You hold up the ice athame and slice at the air. A spell card appears as your ice athame disappears.
And as everyone suspected, no, you don't have to memorize it. But little old me did. Little old me thought you did. But honestly, that would be a very fun task for them to actually have to implement.
It is done. Take this new spell, young wizard, and use it in times of dire need.
Okay, so we just got a new spell. It's called an Ice Prism. We're only going to be adding this spell to our deck when we are facing an ice enemy, boss, or otherwise. And what it's going to do is that we need to place it before, keyword is before, the enemy places a fire shield on themselves. The reason why is because it's going to convert whatever ice damage we do to fire damage, and ice enemies take bonus damage or extra damage when they're hit by a fire school. So this is how we get around doing less damage to a school that matches your own. And if we have an optimal example later in today's episode, then I'll highlight it. But for the time being, we are going to continue on with Colossus Boulevard, which is Strange Brew. And as you saw, I took out the spell from my deck because at least as of right now, we're not fighting, unless we're fighting ice creatures, I don't want it in my deck because all it's going to do is take up space, and I need my deck to consistently be giving me the spells that I want to use. So here's your first stinkweed, and then there typically is going to be typically there should be 2 here. We have one here, and then you'll find your third one in the back of this tower. And then we'll go back to Mindy.
Woo! This stinkweed really does stink. I know I've lost my appetite. That's all I need. I'll brew the potion now. Here's the first batch of potion, young wizard. Hopefully this will make the gobblers stop eating. While I'm making more, go beat some gobblers in combat and make them drink the stinkweed potion.
Okay, pause. So at this time, we just got access to a new side quest.
I've been waiting for a shipment of goods from Kirby Longspear, my delivery man. The last I heard, Kirby was further down the street in the next park area. I can't reach him in this mess. Would you go find him and see what's happened to my shipment? I'll pay you for your time.
We're going to take a quick pause and do Kirby's quest. So you'll see Kirby. It's kind of hard to see now, but Kirby is by this blue teleporter. So we're going to go to Brick's tower. And now I can talk to Kirby.
Thank goodness someone found me. I'll bet Kazul is steaming. Please, I need your help. Those gobblers stole my shipment. After they ate a handful, they went straight for me. Please, help me. I promised to deliver those goods to Kazul, but the barrels have rolled everywhere. Will you gather up as many barrels as you can and bring them back? If you do, I'll share my profits with you.
Yes, sir, I can do that. So make sure these barrels are typically going to be found between the teleporter and this blue teleporter. The main and this blue is where you'll find most of your barrels. So I typically just run back and forth between these two to collect all these barrels. And we got one over here, and I'll pull up my map so y'all can see. So here's the first one here. And then you will find a second one across the street by this red house. Here. And you'll find a third one over by this wooden chest. Now we can go back to Kirby. So we'll actually take the teleporter to Brixby's tower. And here we are.
Ah, you found my barrels. Now if the gobblers would just stay away from them. The evil snowmen are eyeing my shipment of sugar. It's not because they have a sweet tooth. They just worry that they may be on the menu if the gobblers get hungry. They know gobblers would take sugar over snow any day. But I need to deliver that sugar. The children would be disappointed without their cookies. Would you battle a few of those evil snowmen and chase them away? Then I can deliver the goods to Kazul.
Okay, so we have to defeat the evil snowmen. They're not near here, but they are near the original, the main teleporter. So we're going to use that to get back here. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to show, because we have to fight these evil snowmen, which are ice school, we're an ice wizard, we need to use our prism. I'm going to show you the importance of using a prism, and I'm also going to put in a second evil snowman. So we'll have 2 snowmen, 2 prisms. So you want to make sure you place your prism, or your prism goes on before the enemy has a chance to cast the opposite school's shield. So what I mean is, this prism needs to go on before a fire shield goes on. And the reason why is blades, which are things you put on yourself, your wizard, versus traps like this prism, they activate in the order of newest to latest. So, or newest to oldest. So because this is the first and only prism that's been put on this evil snowman, I can now cast evil snowman. When I'm able to cast evil snowman, it will activate that trap and turn my ice damage into fire damage. And that fire damage is going to do bonus because it's the opposite school. It also means that, let's say you want to use a prism, but you also want to take advantage of your school's trap. We can't place an ice trap first, then an ice prism. Because what would happen is if we had a trap on this snowman and then put an ice prism and then played an ice spell, the ice spell would get converted first to a fire spell, and now the trap won't work. So if you want to take advantage of a trap and a prism, you need to place the prism first. Then you place your trap. So then your spell will activate the trap first, then it would activate your prism. When it comes to blades like this, anything that's on your wizard when you're casting a spell gets activated before anything that has been placed on the enemy. So blades and charms would get activated first before any traps or shields on the enemy are activated. And they both follow the same rule of activating whatever's been put on newest or the most recent, followed by the oldest.
With those snowmen gone, I think I can make a run for it and deliver this special sugar to Kazel. Thanks. I could make a run for it alone, but not carrying that barrel of sugar. The gobblers might take a bite out of me while I'm trying to get to the sugar, and I'm not all that sweet. Would you deliver a barrel for me? If those gobblers mess with you, you can mess with them right back.
Heard. Now we're gonna go back to Kazel. But yeah, y'all, that fight was much quicker than the original one.
My barrel of sugar! Just imagine if the gobblers had gotten hold of this. Thank you so much.
Beautiful. So that's that mini little side quest. So now we're going to continue on to our main side quest, which is attacking these Gobbler Scouters. Now, these are similar to the Gobblers that we fought earlier. They're just of a different school. The elemental schools, so fire, ice, and storm, do not get an advantage against balance schools. Typically, it's just spirit schools, which are life, death, and death. We'll get a bonus. So I'll show this fight, and then any other Gobbler fight that we have, I'll just skip through, because it's essentially the same fight, just maybe different schools. So because I put a blade on, I don't want to use the Evil Snowman because there's no point. The Evil Snowman's going to kill them without a blade, so I'm actually going to use the blade to cast the Snow Serpent with the hopes that it does increase damage or enough damage to kill. And these Gobblers are really just taking all my hope away. It's fine. We have a Frost Beetle to finish off. And then for this one, we are going to be using the Evil Snowman. Now, because these enemies do have higher health, I am going to adjust my deck accordingly. So let's do this. Beautiful, there's that. And I'm actually going to be adding another Evil Snowman because I'm noticing that the enemies that I'm facing, because I have to face 2 at a time, they're having more than 200 health. Having 2 Evil Snowmans is going to be easier. Now, I know I do have the Hailhound. The Hailhound, I typically only want to use against bosses or fights that I know are going to take longer. But these mob fights, I really just want them to go by quickly. So I'm going to be using these like 3-pip evil snowmans. I'm not going to put in another Snow Serpent or a Frost Beetle because really I just use these to like finish off an opponent. And the ice traps, I will put in a couple ice traps for now in case I need to buff up one of these evil snowmans. So this is going to be our like new deck setup, at least temporarily.
All done? Excellent. Let's see if the potion had any effect. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say the potion didn't quite work. I don't want to bother the headmaster. I know. The Gobbler King lives in the large palace at the very end of the street. Maybe we can reason with him. I'll try to brew a stronger potion. See if you can make a deal with the Gobbler King to stop eating and leave the city.
Okay. So this next part is going to be very important. So we have to go to the Gobbler King, which is the very end by Hildreth Perch. We have a teleporter there, so we're going to use that. Now, while you're over here, most of you by now should have every smith except the Colossus Boulevard smith. That one is just going to be right near this teleporter. So I'll show you on the map. It's going to be right here near this teleporter. So now we'll be able to talk to Professor Zeke later in today's episode. That's where you can find the smith in Colossus Boulevard. Now we have to go to the Gobbler King. Now this next part is going to be very important. And it's especially important if you're soloing or if you're wanting to do this battle by yourself. Like, you might not be soloing.
You'll have to get past me if you want to see the king.
And that is from the time that we defeat this boss and leave this quote-unquote dungeon. We'll just call it a dungeon. We want to be finishing up the next few quests quickly. So you'll notice this Prince Gobbler, right, has a lot of health, 600. Gobbler Gorger has 285. So if it's 285, what I'm going to do to guarantee that this evil snowman kills, I'm going to use an ice trap first. And then I'm going to be using one of the 2 evil snowmans I have in my deck to go after this Gorger. Yo, why is it that anytime I manifest using the evil snowman, the game says, well, actually, no. And now we didn't even pull it. Great. That's fine, honestly. We'll just use an ice trap. We're going to be putting a trap on the boss anyway. Is the idea when we do we'll use like the Hailhound against it. So we'll need to do it anyway. And in the meantime, we're hoping to pull an evil snowman. There we go. So now we can use the evil snowman. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to use an ice blade. And this will be a good example for me to show you the difference between a blade and a trap. And we aren't going to be able to stun Prince Gobblestone, so we're just going to get rid of it. So to get rid of a card in your deck, you can just right click it if you're on a PC or a laptop, and that discards it. But I want to show y'all the difference between a blade and a trap. So this Hailhound is going to do 120 damage per pip. So we have 4 pips, so 4 times 120 is 480 damage. So what that means is we can do 480 damage over 3 turns. Our blade is going to take that 480 and add a 35% damage to it. So that means over the next 3 rounds, we are going to do 648 damage. But this trap is be activated for one of those 3 rounds. So that first tick, that first damage over time triggered the trap. But if we pass, the trap doesn't apply to that second damage or that second tick. So typically you will see a lot of people using blades over traps. Because blades, especially if you have a damage over time spell, blades impact the overall damage that a card deals. Whereas traps, if it's a damage over time spell or it has an initial hit, like an initial and a secondary hit, traps only are activated on that initial or that first tick of damage. And I know I didn't need to do this, but I just wanted to because I saw that my health was a little low, and I was like, well, in case the game crashes or something happens, I'll be safe with it. But if you go into this battle and you're like, hey, I just died using your deck, all I would recommend is adding in a pixie and a heartbeat, and you're going to be golden. Also, if you had picked up, like we did the Lore You Know quest, you need the Gobblestone Castle book, and that's going to be right here.
In the first world, the children of Lady Nightstar, the grandmother Raven, battled constantly. Titans they were, embodiments of ice, fire, and storm. Their conflict shook the world, but by the time of the Spiral, only their offspring remained. Giants were the descendants of the Ice Titan, who used his power to create frost castles from frozen clouds. Like their ancestor, they battled the dragons on the ground until the wars decimated both races. The giants retreated to the world now known as Grizzleheim, where the few who still remain rule the frigid realm of Wintertusk.
Whoa. We actually get to go to those worlds. Or that world, Grizzleheim. Goes up to the Gobbler King.
A tiny wizard. Hello, tiny wizard. Have you come to surrender your city? You want us to leave? Oh, no. No. My people love it here. We shall call this city New Gobblerton. If you prove to be good servants, perhaps we shall let the tiny wizard stay in New Gobblerton. Here is my royal decree.
You pick up the royal decree to take back to Mindy Pixie Crown,
which we will use this port to get back there quicker.
The Gobbler King wants us to surrender Wizard City? Big problem. I can't believe the Gobblers are trying to claim Wizard City. We need to tell Headmaster Ambrose. Take the Gobbler King's royal decree to Headmaster Ambrose. See what he thinks we should do.
Beautiful. Now we can just head to the Commons to be able to talk to Headmaster Ambrose. What's up, my dude? So many people here. That gave me a little fright.
What? This decree doesn't even make sense. It's just pictures of ice cream and chickens drawn in crayon.
Headmaster Ambrose shakes his head sadly.
The gobblers may be a larger problem than we realized. I hate to ask, but you need to go duel some of them to test their strength.
I guess we could do that. So as you'll see, when you go into a dungeon, for example, or any place that is behind a sigil, if you ever leave that place, you will get this teleport back. So what this means is that we can teleport back to the castle, and any enemies that we have already defeated will remain defeated. Whereas if we were to enter the sigil again, or we were to enter that place again, we would have to re-defeat the prince. So I'm going to let y'all know, spoiler alert, we have to go back and talk to the Gobbler King after a few quests. So what we're going to do is we have 30 minutes basically to get through these next set of quests as quick as possible, so that there's enough time for us to use this special teleport, this temporary teleport, so that we can avoid having to fight that boss again. So my suggestion is once you defeat the prince, finish these next couple quests very quickly so you can use your temporary teleport. So what we're going to do is, I know I have to defeat the Gobbler Gorger, Glutton, and Muncher. And they're located along this next couple streets. So I'll show you where they're located, and then I'm going to be skipping the battles, because it's basically the same battles that we've been doing all episode, just a Gobbler with a different school. So nothing really changes. And I'm going to keep my deck basically the same. So here's where you can find the Gobbler Gorgers here on the map. So now we're just going to feed 2, and I'll see y'all when this is done. Beautiful. So that was the Gobbler Gorgers. Now we're going to be going further down the street to find the Gobbler Munchers. Ooh. And these Gobbler Munchers are going to be ice. So I'm actually going to use this as a good example of an ice prism and an ice trap, and some like interesting tech when you're using both of these spells. So let me just fix up my deck real quick, and I will show y'all this key difference between the two. So, like I said earlier, there's a difference between, there's an key difference when, on how you place traps and prisms. So, let's see what happens when you place a trap first, because in my head I'm like, I want to do as much damage as possible. Let me place a trap first. So you're like, okay, I have my ice trap, right? I want to do 30% more ice damage because ice wizards don't deal a lot of damage in the first place. And this is even a good, this is a better example. And now I want to place an ice prism. But you'll notice the first thing that was placed on the Athame, the sword enemy, was a trap. Then on top of the trap was the fire shield. And now on top of that will be the prism. So you can think of these as like layers on an onion, right? Where the first shield, the shield that you're holding closest to yourself, like to your body, is that trap. And then the next one is going to be the fire shield. And then the outermost shield or trap is going to be that prism. So then when you think of, well, how are they going to activate? It's the ones, you can either think of it for going from left to right or from newest to oldest. So if I use this evil snowman, the most recent trap or ward placed was the prism. So it's going to convert this into ice damage, or ice damage to fire damage. And then because a fire shield is placed underneath that, it's going to activate that fire shield. And you can tell it only did 56 damage because its damage was reduced from that fire shield being placed on it before your prism. So that's why it's important to place your prism before any shields are placed. And you'll also notice what's left on this enemy is our ice trap. Our ice trap didn't get used. And that's because by the time that we got through the first 2 shields, our ice damage was already converted into fire damage, and fire damage doesn't activate that trap. So what you should be doing is taking this prism and placing your prisms on first. And then after you place your prism, then if you have any traps, this is the time to be placing your traps. Because then all of your traps, like if you have an ice trap, if you have an elemental trap, they're going to get activated and boost your ice damage prior to boosting, or before being converted into fire damage. So now, this is a great example. That fire shield was placed on after we already put a prism. So we still have the same 3 traps that were placed on before, but the order is different. So now when I use this evil snowman, that first shield, the most recent shield, was that fire shield. Well, this is an ice spell, so it's not going to activate that. So now it's going to go through to the next one, which was that ice trap, boost its damage, and then that boosted ice spell will activate the prism, and then convert it to fire damage. Well, we've already passed the fire shield, so that fire shield's not going to activate, and that's why that one did 400 damage. So that is a great example for why it's very important to know how to apply prisms and traps and what order to be applying them. So the safe rule is to always put on prisms before traps, and more importantly, to make sure you put on prisms before the opposite school shield has been placed. So y'all will realize I ran out of cards. This is when it's a good time to have treasure cards. So what I'm going to do is I am going to cut the video here, and I'll join y'all back once I've actually defeated these Gobbler Munchers. And there you have it. We defeated the Gobbler Munchers, so now we're just going to head on over to the Gobbler Gluttons. They're also ice damage, so this is going to be the deck that I'm going to be using right now. And I want to preface, make sure you place on your prisms as soon as possible before you place traps and before the enemy gets a chance to place any fire shields. I'll see y'all back once this battle is done. And there you have it. We've defeated all of the Gobblers in Colossus Boulevard, so now we're going to go back and talk to Marl Ambrose. And you'll notice that took us about 20-ish minutes. We still have 11 minutes remaining, so we have plenty of time to be able to use this teleport.
Good. Now that we know how strong the Gobblers are, I have a plan. Please deliver this letter to Mindy Pixie Crown for me. Your hard work will pay off, I promise.
Headmaster Ambrose hands you an official-looking document. Mindy Pixie Crown reads the official-looking document.
I think this plan will work. This plan calls for challenging the Gobbler King's 2 closest advisors, Baron Greebly and Baron Rotunda. Dueling isn't my strength, so you're the only one who can do this, young wizard. They're each hiding out in towers, one at each end of the street. Defeat them and see what the Gobbler King has to say then.
Beautiful. I like this plan. So the first one is Baron Greebly. Baron Greebly is all the way down by the tree. So we're going to use this teleport to get there quickly. So here is going to be the deck that I'm going to be using for this fight. I put in 2 Evil Snowman, 2 Frost Beetles, 2 Traps, a Snow Serpent, a Pixie, Ice Blade, Hailhound, and Ghoul with the Heartbeat. I like having the 1 pip and the 2 pip heal, just in case things get a little bit dicey. We have some health to regain. So the goal is to use the 2 pip Ghoul or my 2 pip Snow Serpent on the Gobbler. So in the meantime, I'm going to put a Blade on myself. Now, because I put a Blade on myself, I no longer want to use the Snow Serpent. The Snow Serpent would do enough damage to kill without any traps or blades. So because I don't want to use up my Blade on the Scavenger, I'm going to just use the Ghoul to kill. Which means I can save my Blade for a spell that I'm going to be casting on the boss. since I'm going to be saving damage. And then I can use the next few turns to set up a trap on the boss so that I can do more damage. So I'm going to put a trap down. And at this moment I have really two options. I can either pass and then cast Evil Snowman, or I can set up another trap and then cast Hailhound. Because I got a power pip, I am most likely going to just... I'm actually still going to... I'm going to trap, actually. That's not going to change what I do. I'm going to trap. So now the next two ice spells that I cast will trigger the traps, which means that only one spell will trigger each trap, or if you have a damage over time, the first 2 ticks of this will trigger those 2 traps, because they are the same trap. So you aren't able to stack the same trap on top of each other and get plus 30 or plus 30% twice. The only way that you can stack traps and or blades is if they're different spells. Physically, they end up being different spells, like unique spells. So in the meantime, just in case the next one doesn't do enough damage, I'm going to do a Snow Serpent. That way we can finish up this very quickly, or this boss quickly. Beautiful. So there's that fight. So now what I'm going to do is I actually have a potion saved up, so I'm going to use that just so I can get to full health and full mana. And I'm going to use this teleporter here. I now have to go to Baron Rotunda, so to get there, I'm actually going to go to Hildreth Perch teleporter, which is going to teleport me to the boss. But if you notice on the map, the Baron Rotunda is nearby, so that's the closest teleporter to get here. And the only difference between that fight and this fight is going to be me including prisms. Now I want to guarantee that I get prisms right off the bat, so I'm actually going to put in 3 prisms into my deck. So this is the only time where my deck is actually going to be quite full, and it's only because both of these enemies that I'm facing are both ice. So my goal first is I want to cast prisms ASAP, especially when you're fighting a boss that is the same school as yourself. This boss is going to be resisting all of my ice damage, so I need to cast a prism to change it into fire damage. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to be using this ice blade on myself. And I'm going to do something that's going to seem counterintuitive. I'm going to use the Hailhound spell on the Gobbler King. And the reason why is normal ranked minions, so they don't have like the elite word in their name, they don't have a boss in their name, but these like orange enemies, orange text enemies, they typically have low resist. So that means that they're not going to, even though it's ice, it's not going to resist this spell as much as a boss would. This boss, I believe, has like 50% resist to ice, which means that if I cast an ice spell that does 100 damage, it's only going to do 50 really. So what that means for me is that because this minion has low resist, I can cast an ice spell on it, and it's going to do a moderate amount of damage. So I'm going to use this Hailhound. I'm going to save my prism for the boss. Now ideally, it would have been better if I could have cast both prisms at the same time, like one after the other, because now that this boss has this fire shield, the next prism that I use on it is not going to be that useful, which, what can you do? There's not really much that I can do. I'm actually going to do something wild. Get rid of this Pixie Impasse. And that's with the hope that I can draw another trap for prism. Okay, So I'm going to use this turn to actually cast the Evil Snowman onto the boss. That will a final tick on that die that's on the glutton enemy. Should kill. Oh. Yeah, I didn't do my math right. Is this going to be the first boss that we lose against? I hope not. So, we activated the prism, so it did 360 damage, and that was boosted because it was fire. So, what I'm going to do in the meantime is... Oh no, we have one more damage over time. Okay, that's good. For a second, I thought that we only had... That previous round was the last one. So, what I'm going to do now is actually cast Heartbeat on myself, just so I can gain some health. Because I don't want to risk dying. That's the 30 damage. I just couldn't count. Okay. We're good. For a second I thought that my math was wrong and I was like freaking out over here. Beautiful. So I'm going to be using the ghoul next, but because I'm going to be basically passing this turn, I can just use a 0-pip spell. Now the reason why I didn't go for a prism this time is because the boss already has the fire shields placed on them, so if I were to use the prism, it would convert my ice spell into a fire spell first, and then because now it's a fire spell, it will go through the fire shield and get reduced damage. So I'd rather, instead of having a minus 80% damage, I'd rather just go through the boss's default resist to ice damage. So that sets me up to cast a Snow Serpent or Frost Beetle. But first I'm going to do a Ghoul, because I know this boss doesn't resist death, and so it'll give me a little bit of health so that I can sustain at least one, if not two more rounds. Minimum. Beautiful. Now we can just cast a Frost Beetle, and that should end the boss. And honestly, this Baron Rotunda was the nightmare of Colossus Boulevard, especially for an Ice Wizard. Okay, so we defeated Baron Rotunda, so now I can go talk to the Gobbler King. Now you might be wondering, well, if I just go and walk over to the Gobbler King, I'm gonna have to fight the prince again. But if you're like me and you have done these quests quickly enough, you can actually use this red temporary teleport. So we're gonna use that. We can teleport back to the castle, and guess what? Because we already defeated the prince, it remembered that we did because we used that temporary teleport. Now you only will get access to a temporary teleport like that red teleport button, if you leave a dungeon by using one of these buttons. Using the go to your commons, your go home, or sorry, you'll only get a temporary teleport button if you use your go to commons or go home button. If you use one of these two, then you'll be prompted with a temporary return to that dungeon teleport. If you enter a dungeon and then walk out of it, you won't be able to, or you won't get a temporary teleport.
The little wizard is back. Are you ready to surrender now?
You tell the Gobbler King about your battles with Barons Greebly and Rotunda.
What? You defeated them? I find that hard to believe. I'll have to send someone to find out if what you say is true or not.
Just as the Gobbler King is getting ready to call, a messenger breaks into the room.
Sir, the two barons have been defeated by a student wizard. What shall we do?
Oh dear. What you said is true. Then that means no Gobblerton, Wizard City is yours. Spare me and my people, Wizard. We mean you no harm. I ask that we are allowed to stay here. Our old home was filled with witches, and we are too scared to go back. I promise we will not eat so much. You have my word.
Maybe. And guess what? We have a teleport back to Mindy, so that's gonna save some time.
Amazing, young wizard. You have brought peace with the Gobblers. You've done a great job. Be sure to tell Headmaster Ambrose what the Gobbler King said. Now I can get back to my project.
Beautiful, and we leveled up to level 13. We're not going to worry about this quite yet. We're going to head to the commons straight away. And talk to Merle Ambrose to be able to finish up Colossus Boulevard. And looking at the time, I'm actually going to save. We have a lot of like side quests that we just got access to right now.
My plan worked. Oh, that's excellent news.
So we're going to save those side quests for their own video, because that'll include basically extracurricular activities that we can do within Wizard101. And I think having a separate video to go over those those extracurricular activities would benefit you all more, so then we can go more in depth as to like the do's and the don'ts with these side adventures.
You tell Headmaster Ambrose what the Gobbler King said about their home world.
My. I certainly don't want to force them to go back to a world where they aren't welcome. Very well. We will let them stay on Colossus Boulevard.
How kind.
It appears we have new neighbors.
Yeah, I mean, if they're not like eating and destroying a city, then why not? Beautiful. So that ends Colossus Boulevard. We started today's episode at level 11, and we got to level 13, so we got 2 levels out of that. We learned a new spell. We learned our Ice Prison spell, which was very helpful with that that last boss, Baron Rotunda in Colossus Boulevard. So if you're an Ice Wizard like me and you're going on this adventure, this is going to be a lifesaver, at least for the next few worlds, until we get the best, in my opinion, ice spell in the game, which we won't be getting for a very, very, very long time. Well, thank you all for watching this episode. If you stayed this long, I really appreciate it. Don't forget to leave a like, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, and as always, have a good morning.